So today, we're going to dig into a really persuasive argument that promises something pretty incredible: water freedom, all with a simple DIY device. But how exactly is an argument like this built to convince you? Let's break it down.
Right out of the gate, the argument we're analyzing hits you with this very stark, kind of alarming question. It's a classic hook, you know? It's designed to grab your attention and frame the whole discussion around a sense of immediate personal danger.
And then, bam! After that emotional hook, you get hit with this just massive number. The claim here is that bottled water is not just a little expensive, it's basically tap water with an absolutely staggering markup. This is all about making you feel like you're being ripped off. Okay, so let's get into the foundation of their argument. And you gotta notice the framing here. The bottled water lie. That kind of language immediately sets up a villain for our story, right? The big beverage companies.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because the argument pivots. It's not just about money anymore, it's about your health. The big claim becomes that bottled water isn't just a bad deal, it's actually unsafe because of all these hidden things, like microplastics, supposedly leaching right out of the plastic.
So now the argument starts to expand. We're moving past what's just inside the bottle, and we're looking at a much, much bigger target: the entire system that gets water to our homes.
And check out how this timeline is used to build a really powerful story of decay. By telling you the grid is 160 years old, it creates this feeling that failure is just inevitable. And notice that specific date, 2026. That's a classic technique, right? It makes a problem that seems far away feel like it's right around the corner.
This right here sets up a really effective trap. By suggesting that the current system only gives you flawed options, it creates a vacuum, a problem that, surprise, surprise, their solution is about to fill perfectly.
And here it is, laid out plain as day. This is that supposed choice. On one side, you have risky tap water from old corroding pipes. On the other, overpriced bottled water that's full of plastics. It's a classic false dilemma, and it's designed to make you reject both mainstream options.
Man, the language here is so intentional. It's all about agitating the problem, right? It directly connects something we all do, relying on corporations, with this feeling of being powerless and vulnerable. The goal is to make you feel like the way things are now just isn't sustainable.
And just like that, right on cue, after they've spent all this time convincing you there's a huge problem, here comes the solution. And they frame it as something rooted in some pretty cool sounding technology. Now, to make this whole DIY idea seem legitimate, the argument grounds itself in a real scientific principle: atmospheric water generation. By starting with real science, the whole pitch sort of borrows that authority, which makes the solution they're about to offer seem a lot more plausible. Okay, but look at what's happening on this slide. This is really clever. A super complex process is broken down into 4 simple, easy-to-digest steps. It's designed to make the technology feel totally accessible. Like, you don't need to be an engineer to get it.
So that science gets packaged into a product, a tangible project they call the Smart Water Box. I mean, even the name is designed to sound modern and effective, right? And here it is. This is a huge part of the pitch: affordability. By claiming you can get started for as little as $50, the argument frames this idea of water independence not as some crazy luxury, but as something that's actually within reach for almost anyone.
You gotta appreciate what this slide is doing. It's like they're reading your mind and answering your questions before you even ask them. Is it too complicated? Nope, it's for the non-handyman. Will it make enough water? It supposedly makes 40 gallons a day. Is it gonna drive up my power bill? Less than a toaster. Every single one of these points is designed to knock down a potential objection.
Okay, so you've heard the science, you've seen the low price, but how do you actually know this thing works? Well, this is where the argument shifts to what's called social proof, using stories from people who have supposedly used it to build credibility.
This first story from Mark in Arizona is super strategic. I mean, Arizona, a desert, right? The implication is, if it works there, it'll work anywhere. And it also takes a direct shot at those premium bottled water brands they talked about at the beginning.
And then, to really hammer home Mark's story, you get this: a super simple table that's meant to look like hard data from a lab. It's a visual punch that seems to confirm that this air water doesn't have the exact contaminants we were just warned about. Now, this second story, about Sarah, shifts the focus. It's not just about purity anymore. Now it's about saving money and having security. And that line, even if the city grid goes down,
That speaks directly to the fears about infrastructure failure they planted right at the start. It all ties together.
And this is it. This is where it all comes together. The entire narrative has been building to this moment, the final empowering call to action.
Stop being a tenant to the water company. This phrase just perfectly captures the whole conflict they've built. It frames your choice as being between a passive renter and an empowered owner of your own water supply.
And that's the ultimate takeaway they want you to leave with. The whole issue gets reframed. It's not just a practical DIY project anymore. It's been elevated into a moral mission, an act of reclaiming a fundamental right for yourself. So, we'll leave you with that question to think about. Because when you really strip it all away, the core idea being sold here isn't just about water, is it? It's about the very powerful and, let's face it, growing appeal of independence itself.